Hello and welcome. In today's video we will do brake job on the front axle. The procedure is identical on both sides, therefore I will only show you one side. First we need to break loose the lug nuts. Now choke off the wheels of the rear axle and jack up the car. Put the car on support such as jack stands. Entirely remove the lug nuts and take off the wheel. And if you are currently asking yourself the question,
what the fuck is this?
I'd call it the script for a new video. Use some type of penetrating oil like WD-40 to ease up the removal process of brake calipers and caliper brackets. I also recommend to have a set of commonly used nuts and wrenches. Now break loose the caliper bolts, be careful to not snap the bolt heads, especially if they are as old and rusty as mine here. Take a flat screwdriver or a similar tool and remove the old brake pads. Now take off the caliper entirely. Take a piece of solid wire or a bungee cord and hang up the caliper to not stretch out the brake lines. These here are the two bolts holding the caliper bracket in place. It was quite a big challenge breaking them loose. Now take the bracket and go through the notches in which the brake pads fit and slide with some 40 to 80 grit sandpaper. Also clean off the little brackets fitting into the notches of the caliper bracket. Also, don't hesitate to turn the steering wheel if this provides you a better view angle into the work area. I must say some brake rotors are fastened with a small screw. This one has no further screws but needs to be tapped off due to rust holding it in place. Have a look at these dented, chipped and rusted ridges. These are mainly responsible for the grinding noise when braking. These rotors could potentially be sanded off, resurfaced. They don't look too bad actually, but I'll either way replace them. It is of high importance to wipe off the new rotors with some brake clean, because they come preserved with some oily layer to avoid rusting. Now use some brake grease before mounting the rotor. Can also be used on all the bolts of the bracket and caliper. Reinstall these little notch brackets. Next step is to push the brake piston back in, otherwise the caliper won't fit over the new thicker brake pads. Take your time. Make sure to inspect the piston boot and don't damage it at all costs. This could lead to seized brakes. When comparing the old and new brake pads, we see the extent of wear. The old pads were not extremely worn yet, otherwise the extreme wear bracket would make a squeaky noise. Right here you see me installing the extreme wear bracket. Apply some brake grease so the pads better fit and slide within the notches. Push the piston a bit more in if it still doesn't fit perfectly. Actually, wait a moment. Make sure the pads are neither too loose nor too tight. Now when putting everything back together, if you are new to this type of work, I'd recommend you using a torque wrench and following the torque specifications shown in your car repair manual. If you still wonder about these two little holes on the rotor, these are meant for situations like when you need to tap off the old rotors. You simply screw in two little bolts and tighten them until the rotor is broken loose. Now some more brake grease to prevent rust. Mount the wheel. Rotate it a couple of turns. Slight smooth grinding is okay. If there is non-constant grinding, it could be the dust shield that grinds a bit against the rotor. Simply slightly push it with your hand till it is bent so it makes no more noise. Now jack the car up a little and remove the jack stands. Try to slowly lower the car. I said slowly and smoothly. Tighten the lug nuts. Again, use the torque wrench if you are new to this. Now, having done the brake job on the other side, let's go for a ride. Go by yourself, so if you screwed up, it's only you who pays the price. Wait, important, check for obstructions blocking your path. Remember to pump the brake pedal a couple of times to make the piston push against the new pads. Test a couple of times and check whether braking produces any strange noises now. In my case it was not, and also having driven the car for a week now hasn't given me any front brake related issues. If you are new to my channel, make sure to check out the other videos. Thanks for watching.